This week on my way to Creekside, and I was listening to the radio, and the commentator said, "It's nasty out." And I thought they were going to go on to talk about the icy mix of snow and sleet on the roads, but that was not the story. And then I thought maybe it would be about the national discussion and the profanity that was allegedly used in the discussion about immigration to the United States. That wasn't the story either. I thought maybe the mudslides in California. Nope. It was a national story about the flu bug this year, and that strain of the flu, which has proved to be particularly virulent, and the fact that the vaccines that people got earlier in the season have not been the most effective at combating it. So, I know some members of our congregation have experienced the flu bug personally, but the word is that it's nasty out. This got me to thinking that whether it's weather, news, health, or a myriad of other things, we need an antidote to nasty. And it turns out that Christians have this. And you know what it is, even though we're all susceptible to nasty roads and nasty news coverage and nasty conversations. I think we could all use a slice of PB&J. Now, I didn't even know that there was a National Peanut Butter and Jelly Day, but I'm going to be all over that this Monday, April 2nd, when I am recovering from Easter on April 1st. I can almost taste that sweet jelly and the rich, creamy peanut butter. But if you've been around Creekside for a while, you know that peanut butter and jelly is not the kind of PB&J I'm talking about. At Creekside, and possibly nowhere else, PB&J stands for praise, blessing, and joy. I couldn't find a single image that captures praise, blessing, and joy, and that's probably a good thing because praise, blessing, and joy can take lots of different forms. So let me give you a little history of how Creekside first came to experience PB&J. Before I was on the pastoral staff here, I was sitting in a worship team meeting in the conference room with Pastor David Bibby. It was 2009, early in the year of 2009, and I don't know how many of you were living in Elkhart County in 2009 and can remember what was going on then, but it was nasty out. It was a bleak time for the economy in 2009. Newly elected President Barack Obama had just visited Elkhart County as sort of the epicenter of economic woes in the country. Our unemployment rate was over 10%. And I remember sitting in that worship team meeting and saying, we're the church. How can we get a message of hope out there? And Sue Knopfsinger said, maybe we need to spread PB&J, praise, blessing, and joy. And the rest is history, maybe even legend. I still get emails from Sue where she signs off PB&J, and I know just what she means. This December, when Sue was supposed to be getting down to business and writing Advent monologues, I got lyrics for a PB&J song from her. We're going to sing it at the end of the service today. It's no secret that I love this theme. It's catchy, it's easy to remember, has great potential for visuals and for dramatic dialogue, and you can make a lot of great snacks and desserts with PB&J too. But even more than people need peanut butter and jelly, we need praise, blessing, and joy. It's something that the Bible shows us, it's something which God gives us, and it's something that we're supposed to share with other people. We don't know who wrote the book of Hebrews, But we do have a pretty good idea of when it was written and what was going on in the lives of the people who were going to receive it. It was written sometime between AD 60, about the time of Paul's earliest letters to the Thessalonians, and AD 95. It isn't written to a specific community. It's not like a letter. It's really more of an extended sermon. And I mean extended. If I were going to read it aloud to you, it would probably take about an hour and a half. I'm not going to do that. The first people to read or hear it would have been second-generation Christians. That is, people whose parents' lives actually overlapped with Jesus' time on earth and his earthly ministry. Some of those Christians had grown weary, were falling away from the faith, tired or disillusioned that Christ had not yet returned. They had a lot of reasons to abandon their faith. The Roman Empire was actively persecuting Christians, sometimes by marginalizing them economically and keeping them from having community influence, by seizing or destroying their property, and in some cases, killing them if they didn't offer sacrifice or pledge allegiance to the Roman emperor. It was nasty out, not just icy, but discouraging and soul-crushing and life-threatening. The author of Hebrews is trying to encourage Christians to follow Christ's example and to remain faithful, hopeful, and loving. In Hebrews chapter 11, we're reminded of those heroes of the Old Testament, those men and women who walked by faith and not by sight, who lived in the assurance of a promise that they would not live to see fulfilled. They are that great cloud of witnesses that the author of Hebrews is talking about in chapter 12, verse 1. We are part of the generations since the life and the ministry of Jesus Christ who need to remember that our joy is bigger than the nasty things that go on around us. We are the folks the author is referring to at the beginning of chapter 12 when he or she writes, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every sin and every weight which clings so closely, and let us run with perseverance the race that is set before us, looking to Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of our faith, who for the sake of the joy that was set before him endured the cross, disregarding its shame, and has taken his seat at the right hand of the throne of God." I'm going to skip verses 3 through 11. It's good stuff, which I'd encourage you to read on your own. But I want to highlight verses 12 through 15 because I think they're especially important for us to hear when things get nasty. It says, "Therefore, lift your drooping hands and straighten your weak knees and make straight paths for your feet, so that what is lame may not be put out of joint, but rather be healed. Pursue peace with everyone and holiness, without which no one will see the Lord." Now, the Church of the Brethren has not, at least in my experience, been a tradition which uses the language of personal holiness and the importance of being holy. Maybe it gets us a little too close to being holier than thou. But the author of Hebrews sounds like they're saying that if we don't pursue peace with everyone and take responsibility for our own actions, that other people, Hebrews says, no one will see the Lord. Praise, blessing, and joy are first things which we owe to God. One way we do this is by looking to Jesus, God's Son, and the pioneer and perfecter of our faith. There is nothing that we will have to endure that Jesus has not already been through. Physical suffering, public humiliation, and death. Jesus did this in order to experience the joy of faithfulness, which is something that no one can take away. The life and example of Jesus Christ is why he deserves our praise. It is our assurance of blessing and joy. But it's not enough to keep that joy to ourselves. The joy and blessing in our lives is what allows other people to see God. And the more people see God and find that joy in their own lives, the less nastiness there is. The more PB&J we give away, the more there will be to spread around. So I have a modest proposal. Some of you have heard it before. And if you're like me, it doesn't hurt to review. My proposal has 3 parts. And I know that some of you already do all 3 of these things. And if you do, please take this as a note of encouragement. I can't guarantee that if you do these things, that it will make the roads better or keep you from getting the flu. It probably won't change the national conversation. But I believe that these things can change us and transform the way we interact with other people and our attitudes about the nasty stuff that's out there. Here's my challenge. Try it for one day. If you're successful, do it the next day. If you're not successful, do it the next day. So here it is. Number 1, don't talk smack about other people. This is the first and the lowest bar to clear in pursuing peace with everyone. We can disagree with people, even dislike their positions and how they present them, but personal attacks behind their backs or on social media or in the Creekside parking lot or wherever people gather to be unhappy and complain is not going to reveal Christ to anyone. Number 2, share blessing with others. This is the first step to take after you've practiced. If you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. Maybe you can't get there with everyone immediately. That's okay. Start simply with the people who are easiest for you. Say, be careful. It's nasty out. Have a good day. God bless you. I will pray for you. You don't even have to bless other people with words. You could clean off somebody's windshield or shovel the snow from the front of the church when people are coming in on Sunday morning, or help someone across the parking lot, or smile at somebody. There are many, many ways to bless people. In my experience, I often feel the most blessed when I have tried to bless someone else, even if I do it reluctantly or imperfectly. There are many gracious people in this congregation from whom I have learned a lot about my shortcomings and about God's grace. Number 3, acknowledge and share that Jesus Christ is the source of our joy. You may have to remind yourself of this truth, especially on days when it's nasty out and you're tempted to get dragged into the mud. But if we can keep our eyes on Jesus, it will change the way we treat ourselves and the way we treat other people. We may even be bold enough to share this good news with someone else so that they can see Jesus and obtain the grace of God. So, don't talk negatively about other people. Share blessing with someone. Acknowledge Jesus Christ as the source of our joy. Keep your eyes on Jesus. Every day is National PB&J Day. We can all spread praise, blessing, and joy. Amen.